Hello everyone, about Azure DDoS Protection. Azure DDoS Protection defines the cloud workloads against distributed denial of service, which is called DDoS, and it has three different tiers, which comes as basic, IP protection, and network protection. Let's see how this works. Azure provides a built-in infrastructure level DDoS protection that helps you automatically. It's been enabled and it's with no charge for the customers, for all Azure customers. It protects Azure infrastructure against common layer 3 and 4 volumetric attacks using continuous monitoring. So it is an active traffic monitoring, which is always on detection and automatic attack detection and mitigation. This is being enabled by default, and customers still needs to have their own dynamic DDoS protection on top to design their own specific targeted application. This is just comes out of the box. There is nothing specific to be enabled. But if you need more customized and advanced level of information on DDoS protection, then you have to enable your own SKU or advanced level. So this diagram, just look at this. You see the two different red line or circle around the resources. The first layer is DDoS protection, which has been enabled to buy Azure by protects at the platform level. If you want to do it for our application level, we have to enable the next set of SKUs or advanced premier version of something. You have to enable it. It can be used in Azure. Let's see. So Azure has two different SKUs other than the basic, which comes out of the box. The IP protection, and it's called DDoS network protection. Let's see how this DDoS network protection works. It was something labeled or called advanced protection earlier. Now it has been renamed into network protection layer, which protects an entire virtual network. It covers up to 100 public IP address per tenant, which includes the premium features like application scale, cost protection with WAF discounts. It gives you an Azure global network, which can be used for adaptive training, and it can be integrated with Microsoft different of a cloud for all your alerts and informations, and it can be used with Sentinel as well. And there is a DDoS rapid response which comes out of this, which helps you to have some information to on your DDoS protection. The second layer is DDoS IP protection. The first one is being heavily recommended for all the enterprise customers, and for the DDoS IP protection, it's for your small and medium business customers where they want to have a cost protective, because the first one has a huge cost involved. In this second option, the DDoS IP protection, which comes and it's been applicable to a specific public IP address you want to use it. So it has a flexibility to enable protection on an individual public IP address, and you can just enable it for your most application or resource which is being exposed in public internet. So that way it is a lower cost per IP paid SKU designed for the individual workloads. It's ideal if you don't require a full network plan, but you need advanced layer 3 and layer 4 mitigation and attack metrics. So that's way it just gives you an additional option to have easy to configure and monitor, and making sure it just enable where it requires. So that's the difference between these two protections. Just looking at two different options, just both has most of the thing. Only difference is the cost protection, where the WAF discount comes out a different. If you have a WAF and if you have a DDoS enabled, then there is a cost difference between with the network protection SKU. Rest, it's all same level of information, and the metrics comes out of Azure DDoS. The other thing is about the pricing. It has an SLA guarantee with the DDoS protection information. The SLA is 99.99 during your attack, and the target resource will not be impacted. And if there is anything goes out, it just has an alerting mechanism, gets instant notification, and it just helps you to have some information from Azure credits. Let's see the pricing. The Azure DDoS network protection, its pricing is 3000 $3,000 of month per month for entire tenant. You can have multiple subscriptions and the VNets, and you can scale up to 100 public IP address. If you have more than 100 public IP address, then it is additional IP address will be billed $30 per month for each public IP address. What does this pricing includes is cost protection against your entire public IP address across your tenant, and you have an access to a rapid response team as a support from Microsoft and Azure in the backend. You just paying that specific amount, which includes an annual protection of your network protection sizing. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a WAF discount of when you enable DDoS network protection and it is enabled on a VNets, the application gateway has, or the friend door who has been using WAF, then there is a 100% discount on the WAF's pricing. So that's an additional advantage with this. If I go to the IP protection one, this is $200 per month per IP on your subscription. If you don't want to pay huge money in upfront on enabling network protection, then you can slowly start using an IP protection plan. Then whenever there is an much more resources scaling up, then I would recommend to enable the network protection to have the cost saving against each of this. On the monitoring and telemetric analytics, both IP and network protection SKU offers deep and actionable visibility through Azure native integrations, like getting all the diagnostics and the metrics enabled with Azure Log Analytics workspace. So in that way, there is no difference between these two protections. And the one more important thing is adaptive tuning. The protection policy is tuned to your application traffic flow, and it will continuously monitored for your public IP address. And it's easy to set up. There is no user configuration required. And the recent change with this is there is some custom policy. You can just tune it. It is currently in public preview. It's just coming out of soon to a GA. Once you have GA is enabled, then you can have your own custom tuning policies to on Azure DDoS. Let me show you in the next thing like a demo to just look at it, what it's been enabled, how it works in Azure directly.
You're looking at my Azure subscription, and I'm been recording with this with my development subscription. You see my Azure DDoS has been created, which has been with my IP protection. I have my public IP address enabled here, created. I'm just going to my public IP address, and you can see it is not associated with any of my backend workload, but you can see protect my IP address option here. So what does it mean is I can just enable the DDoS specifically for this public IP address. If I choose my network, then it just goes and enables my network protection and inherits from the virtual network. If I specifically to IP address, and I can choose my existing DDoS protection. Since it's enabled here, it's just you can able to see here. That's it. Once I enable it, it just goes and gets all my logs and diagnostic settings has been enabled from public IP address, which is specifically to get all my DDoS related IP addresses information, which is coming into my log analytics workspace. So yeah, that's here. If I go back to my resource groups, I can see my virtual network has been created. If I click on my DDoS protection here, you can see my protected resources, which has been comes up as my virtual network, which is my hub. But I didn't enable my network protection, but I have enabled only my public IP addresses here, which will be part of this virtual network. So if I need to go back to my log analytics workspace and look at my metrics, and that's been enabled to this one. What I want to show you is specifically here is if I go back to my public IP address, and if I click on my diagnostics here, and if I go to the metrics, I can able to look out specifically a scope within my resources. I can just select my public IP address here and just say apply to this, and my metrics will be specific to DDoS. You can see here like the inbound traffic, anything with a specific DDoS under attack or not. If you see I don't have anything, it just been 0. If I see something, it will be a numbers turning up here, and you can see UTP DDoS dropped, or these are the specific metrics you have to look for TCP and UDP packets by DDoS dropped. You can create an alert, and that can get notified here on your email address, whatever you want to create as part of an alert mechanism. So that's it with me today, and thank you for watching it. Have a nice day. Catch you on the next one.